let's talk about financing. All right. So, whether you get your mortgage through a traditional method or whether there's alternative methods, we're going to just talk about a few right now, and we're going to jump into a few other ones in other videos. So let's start out with the most traditional. All right. You are going to need, in most cases, 3 things and then some proof of those things. 1, credit. So you're going to have taken care of your credit to a degree. And 2, you're going to have some kind of job. And 3, you're going to have some kind of money, some down payment or proof thereof. Okay, so how do we go about this? There are multiple ways on each one of those things that we can look at. And we're going to talk about just the basic this time. All right, so you went to a mortgage broker or a bank, and we will talk about the differences between that in another video. So your banker has come back and said, look, you know what? You have credit. Great. That's just one hurdle. Now, does your credit allow you to apply for CMHC financing? Maybe, maybe not. And it depends, because sometimes banks are able to get you as an A lended, or B, or C, or D. and each one has different criteria. Each one gives you a better interest rate or a worse interest rate. And each one can fund you in a different way. So let's take a look at A lending. A lending, you're going to have a beacon score of up here. You're going to have a great beacon score. You're going to be able to apply for CMHC financing, and you're going to be able to get the option to put down as little as 5%. That is a great feature, and it allows you to open up the market to the most amount of homes. It also allows you to use things like gift letters, or maybe you are new to Canada and credit isn't going to be as much of a issue as it would be for everyone else. And we'll talk about that in the New to Canada program. Second, you're going to need a job. Okay, so what I mean by that is, whether you're self-employed or whether you actually are an employee, there's 2 different forms of lending out there for you. So if you are self-employed, we're going to talk about that in another video, but if you're just an employee, then you would get a couple of things from your employer. 1, a job letter. And that is a letter that says that now you're full-time and that your employer has all the intention of keeping you on for a very long time. So that makes the bank feel good about lending money to you. Secondly, you're going to want to get pay stubs. So that proves how much you're actually going to take home. So some banks ask for different things. Sometimes ask for a whole year's worth of information, and sometimes they only ask for the last 6 months or 3 months. It just depends. Each one is different, so be prepared to answer those questions. Third, you're going to need a down payment. Now, we talked briefly about a gift letter because your credit is good, right? Okay, so a gift letter is where a parent having you money to purchase a property. It isn't lent money, it's they've given you money. Okay, so that can be used. So let's say your parent is wanting to help you get into that first home. No problem. You'll just have to get a gift letter saying that your parent gave you the $20,000 or $15,000 for the down payment. All right, next, new to Canada. This is where that would come in, where they would want to take a look and see how much money you've come into Canada with, and you have to prove how you've either saved the money or you brought the money into Canada. You're going to do this with bank stubs, so you're going to have to be able to prove where the money came from and how you brought it into Canada. Another way would be RRSPs. We're going to talk about that one too later, but briefly, you're going to have to prove where the money came from. So whether it's through bank stubs, RRSP statements, and you're going to have to be able to show the bank that you have a way of putting down a down payment. B lending. B lending is when either your credit or down payment or some other obstacle, like being employed for yourself, or maybe you have not been at your job long enough, But a B lender will charge normally a higher rate of interest, and they will give you all kinds of different ways that you can purchase that home. So that is another form of lending. Now, C lending, I'm going to just briefly talk about C and D because both of those lenders normally will take on people who have either been through bankruptcy and they haven't quite finished, or they're still, or they have finished the bankruptcy, but they haven't been out of bankruptcy very long, maybe less than a year, and it's still on their credit bureau, and it's still a stigma. So those kind of lenders are where we typically will see people that have had a harder time, and maybe they've went through a couple of bad spells, but the lenders are still willing to give you a try, and it's going to cost you, but normally people will do that for 1 or 2 years, and then they'll apply for traditional financing. All right, so we've briefly covered how mortgages are done. I'm not going to get any deeper on some of those aspects because you really do need to see a bank or a mortgage broker. So we'll be talking about that in another video. As far as financing, first thing you need to do is get qualified. And not just qualified, really qualified, because we're going to treat you exactly like that so that you're able to write an offer and make a really good deal. This video has been brought to you by Anita and Josh McKinnon with McKinnonHomes.ca, brokered by eXp Realty. Thanks again for watching.